You know, Jews keep their own Jewish people poor on purpose because money is a way of controlling people. And if you don't have any money, they can control you uh, with great precision. Uh, Jewish children are sent to Jewish schools, yeshivas, or whatever they're called, and they're not taught English, definitely not taught English, math, science, or anything that might help them uh, be productive members of society. Uh, they're taught the Bible, they're taught the Quran, they're taught Jewish studies, they're taught the Hebrew, they're taught Jewish language. And the reason they speak Jewish language is so you don't know what they're speaking about. They can talk to you with you standing there and you'd have no idea what they're saying. And that's done on purpose. And if you can only be a fly on the wall, right? But the Jews are very bad to their own people, no less everybody else, because of their desire to control their own people. Which is the same as why they're bad to everybody else, like the Palestinians, because they want to control the Palestinians, so they're bad to them. But the men are bad to their women. Jewish men are horrible to their women. They limit their women's ability to live on their own. They have to be married. They marry at a very young age to their cousin or their uncle. No different than the Arabs, and considering they come from the same region, it's really not a big surprise. You know, it's just they want to stop the hate of Jews, but they don't want to stop the things that make us hate them, and they want a free pass on everything they do, and they want us to not hold them accountable for the things they do. You know, you don't really find as many Jewish doctors or Jews going into being a doctor or something. They're running hedge funds. They're in the market because that's the biggest scam of the world. You know, Madoff was a Jew. He was running the market. Trump, you can call him a Jew. He plays the market. You know, it's just that's where they go. You know, when music was a big deal, like the Elvis days and Beatles days, you know, that was run by Jews, and Jews ran the record labels. That's why a lot of your music stars, like Kiss, band Kiss, were all Jews. Beastie Boys, they were all Jews, because there was money in music. And now that there's no money in music, the blacks run music, and the black labels are the predominant, like Death Row Records, Motown, and all that. They run the music industry now because there's no money in music. You know, the Jews are very big into diamonds. The diamond district is completely Jewish. You can't really even open a store on the diamond district unless the Jews approve it. And if they don't, you won't last 5 minutes. And, you know, so the Jews run the diamonds. And the diamonds are all a scam, too, because there's no reason that rock should cost $5,000. Russia has basements with vaults and football field size vaults and vaults of diamonds that they know and they won't release to the market because they know they would kill the market if they did. But diamonds are predominantly worthless, but it keeps the diamond mines going, and gold is pretty much worthless too because it's really not that rare. It's just all these things like oil. Oil's not rare, and you know they make them rare so they can up the price. You know, and that's the whole goal, just to up the price, and you know, it makes it worth it to go through the trouble of mining it, you know, and if it wasn't worth it, they wouldn't do it. But the Jews are all into mines. The Jews are all into those kinds of entities because the money, and that's why they're into TV, because TV is huge money, and not only it's not just money, it's power too. You know, they corner the market in diamonds, they corner the market in movies and TVs and music. They own it and they control it and they dictate what goes out and what the public hears and sees. And that's why a lot of what your TV, you know, if you look at the last name of a lot of the people that you see on TV, they're Jewish. And that's who they put on TV. You know, the kids they interview on TV, they're Jewish because they want the Jewish brand to be out there. And it's all a scam. It's all indoctrination, manipulation, brainwashing. It's making the horrible acceptable and normal. You know, it's like Trump with his campaign. If you say a lie enough, it becomes the truth. And that's what the Jews gave him that, you know. And, you know, it's sad that they made Make America Great Again a negative thing. It's like laughed at now when you say it. My Stupid Again hat is a joke on that, and I think it's a perfect joke considering the times and considering the man. So, you know, it's sad that can't be a good thing. You know, he made it horrible, he made it despicable, and, you know, it shouldn't be that way. America should be a great country. We have the power to be a great country, but we're hijacked by a lot of SOBs and scummy other people, and you know, and the Jewish cult has hijacked the United States, and I think that's what the Jews are. They're a cult more than anything, and they shouldn't have any power any more than the Jehovah's Witness should have power. You know, that's a cult in itself, and or the Scientology is a cult. You know, and within those groups, they all like what do you call they try to. Tom Cruise is a big Scientology, and they try to get people like that to further their brand. You know, it's like people say, "Oh, Tom Cruise is a Scientologist. I like Tom Cruise, so maybe I'll go be a Scientologist." You know, and they like that. They want to promote that. You know, and it gives the group more power. You know, and but they don't talk about all the bad things that Scientology does. You know, the bad things the Jews do and all that. Those aren't promoted. You know, and you know, look, everything has a negative, everything has a positive, so you know it's hard, but you promote all the bad people. You know, like I said in the last video, that Jews don't like blacks and blacks don't like Jews, and the Jews use the blacks like they put what's his name? The comedian. Bill Cosby. They put Bill Cosby. Made him father of America. You know, meanwhile, he's a rapist. Yeah. So, I mean, this is who the Jews promote because they know it's going to bring down the blacks, and they do it on purpose. They don't uplift good black people, and there's millions and millions and millions of good black people that wouldn't hurt a fly, that don't rob and steal, don't deal crack. They work a job. They go to work every day. They do what they think is right. They pay their bills. They have a hard life. Some of them take the bus and don't cause trouble, don't complain. They pay their fare. They go to work and they raise their children. You know, and I'm not saying anyway that blacks should take the bus. They should be able to have a car just like everybody else. But you know, it's just they have a thumb on top of their head, and it's the Jewish thumb, and you know, and it's meant to be that way by design, you know, and it's sad. It's really sad because they promote the blacks that rape, like R. Kelly or P. Diddy. They promote the bad blacks to keep all the blacks looking bad, you know, and it's all done by design. It's not by accident. It's not like, oh, we didn't know that about him. I mean, most of your rap artists are ex-crack dealers, so they can't say they didn't know that about him, you know, and they promote him anyway. And they're promoting that kind of mentality, that kind of ideology throughout the black community, that I have to be a crack dealer to be a famous rap artist. You know, that's like the mantra, you know, and it's totally not true. I don't think LL Cool J was a crack dealer. I don't believe he was a crack dealer. I think he was a good guy, and he was one of the good guys that made it to the top, you know, and I don't take anything away from LL. But, you know, that's not the norm. That's not the way it usually goes. And, you know, it's just, I think there aren't enough black stars that can say that doesn't like an LL Cool J that don't have a record. You know, Alicia Keys is a beautiful artist. I don't think she has any kind of record. You know, and there's nothing can take away anything from her. She's great. You know, problem is she could be a Taylor Swift in her own right with the songs she wrote and the career she had, but because her videos have a black man in the video, little young white girls, they don't want them to follow Alicia Keys, you know. They don't want that to be the focal point. You know, they want a Taylor Swift that has a white boy as a boyfriend, you know, and Taylor Swift was a young little girl when she became famous, when she started her trek down a musical road. And so little girls can emulate and want to follow in her path, you know, little white girls, you know, and I believe little black girls would definitely love to have an Alicia Keys kind of life. And I love Alicia Keys songs. I watch her videos. I have them on Apple Music and stuff. And, you know, I always loved Alicia Keys. She has a great voice. She can play an instrument. It's not that she's a good singer. She is, but she can also play instruments. And, you know, it's just, she's well-rounded, you know, and I don't think she gets enough credit. You know, Beyonce became what Beyonce did because she was a black girl with blonde hair. You know, and I'm not saying she can't sing or she doesn't have any talent, not in any way, she has a lot of talent, she deserves everything she has. But because she had blonde hair, it didn't hurt her career at all. And the other two of Destiny's Child, I can't even name them, they didn't have blonde hair. You know, so, I don't know, it's just very into what we see and not so much what we hear. Everything's visual, you know, so it's just, it's sad. But the Jews promote all that stuff. The Jews are there to make money off of Beyonce, off of Taylor Swift, off of Alicia Keys, and Beyonce is another one that didn't have a record, hasn't done anything that we know of, you know. But that's rare. A lot of your black rap artists or singers have a record. And that's what sells their records, you know, when they're pushing that kind of music. It helps sell their records to the class of people they're trying to sell the records to. And it's all in a downward motion to keep the black man down. And I think it's wrong. I think the black man should be uplifted, that they can do whatever they want. They can be president, like Barack Obama. you know, and I'm sure a lot of people told Barack Obama that he was crazy for wanting to be president. He was crazy for running for president. You know, he was crazy for running for the Senate. You know, I'm sure a lot of people, tons of people told him not to do what he did. You know, and he had to persevere. He had to overcome all that. And anybody, black or white, is going to have to deal with that. You know, you always have your naysayers. You always have the crab in the bucket thing, where once you get out of the bucket, they pull you back in. And I'm sure if you can't overcome that, then you will never be president. You will never be successful, because the crab that gets out of the bucket is the one that's successful, and he has to fight that gauntlet. You know, has to fight that. And you know, it's just like the slaves from back in the Civil War days, before the Civil War, when they ran the Underground Railroad. A lot of them said, "Don't go. You'll die on the way. You'll never make it." And a lot of them did make it, and they made it to freedom. And you know, some died, yes, of course. Some got caught and brought back, and whatever happened to them happened. But some got away, and some succeeded, and that's why we know of the Underground Railroad today. You know, so you have to persevere. You have to push the naysayers away. You know, a lot of naysayers would say I shouldn't make this video, and I don't care what they say. You know, I don't care. And I'm not going to take it down because of what someone has to say. I'm not going to change it, and I'm not going to walk it back. You know, all I speak is truth, and truth to power is something power does not want. Truth is a lot. Power is a liar, and they want anyone that continues and propagates their lies. You know, so to say Jewish people are good to Jewish people would be a lie. You know, they're not. They care about themselves, nobody else.